trying to get crazy when they sing. Don't you know I'm loco?
Because that was back in the street scene days. The festivals were like, and as soon as they heard the band, they were like, oh, you got to meet this person, and we can do this. So our first tour, I think, was like the Wailers, which was like Bob Marley's original band, and that lasted forever. I was like half a year touring with those guys. So I would like watch these guys play like Bob Marley songs, but study them like. What's happening, everybody? This is Bobby Ruiz, aka Bobby Tribal, and finally, once again, we're back. It's time for that Lower Left podcast. Right here with my man Johnny Be Good.
Yo, what's up? It's been a while.
Yeah,
I'm
man.
Kind of nervous. It's like we're rookies again.
I don't remember the last time we did this.
Yeah, it was like
last year? And we got something new and improved.
We're actually don't look at the camera. That's what they say in acting class. Don't look at the camera.
Now we've got visuals to go along with the audio. So thanks to our tech guy / co-host / homie Johnny Be Good.
I know. Now I gotta wear a shirt.
Yeah.
When we do this.
Yep. And it's Johnny hooked it up. So we're gonna try this camera thing for a while and see how the listener / viewers like it and how we like it. Right?
Yeah, it's gonna be the shit. I guarantee you. Once they see you and
Stop
me,
it, not me,
and then Carlos on the first.
So it's all about views now.
No, it's about the comments. Comment, like, subscribe.
Whatever all of that is.
Yeah.
Man, it was last year since we did this, right?
I think it was. Yeah, I don't even know.
So, you had good holidays. COVID, you know what it is too, man? COVID hit my family pretty hard. I know it hit the building here pretty hard. I was just at the Grand Nationals last week, and I ran into some friends, and man, this shit's no joke. I think it's definitely, people could say whatever they want to say, but the reality is the 3 dudes that I talked to this weekend at the Grand Nationals, none of them were vaccinated, anti-vaxxer type guys, and it fucked them up, dog. Like real bad.
Like hospital bad? Or?
Yeah, hospital bad, like writing out their will bad, like thought they were going to die bad. Like all 3 of them were just telling me crazy stories, and now they can't wait to get vaccinated and get through it. But, that's a whole other subject that I really don't want to touch. But
well, I heard the vaccination works better when you get it in the butt.
Does it? I don't know.
My doctor's a perv. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Whoa. All 3 of my kids got it. My parents got it. This was all right after Christmas. So it was crazy, but they're all vaccinated. So in about a couple of weeks, everybody was all good. But it seems to me like the people that I know, this is my personal experience, that got it, that were not vaccinated, it really messed them up pretty bad. And they all of them had a real rough time with it. But for the most part, I've been lucky, so far, thank God, and so is my wife, so we're good. How about you, Johnny? Did it got pretty close to you guys too?
Yeah, I mean, this same time last year, all of us got it, and then this time nobody got it. Really? Well, we don't know. Maybe. Yeah. I mean, I was taking tests like it was a trip because there was like 4 tests like all used there. I looked like a junkie, like a test junkie.
Yeah.
Or I was pregnant or something,
yeah.
But with the little at-home test. But thankfully nobody got it. I know a lot of people that did get it, they got it pretty bad where they ended up in the hospital or, not doing too well, but or having lasting effects. But hopefully we're over that hump because everyone and their mama got it, at the beginning of January.
Yeah, man.
So.
And then
we have to talk about this shit.
Yeah. Just relax there. So then we had in the building, Edmar got it, Isaac got it, Migs got it. I think Owen got it, but he didn't test for it. Shit, yeah, it was crazy. But anyways, so we'll pass that. So
Anyways.
today we are very, all our guests are special, but this guy is absolutely very, very special. He's a local cat, very, very well known here in San Diego, an extremely talented musician, singer, songwriter, just an all around good dude. I'd consider him one of my real close friends here in San Diego. Real good dude. The lead singer, the man himself, B-side players.
Nice.
Carlos Paez. What's happening,
Yeah,
Carlos? There you
everything
go.
good, yeah.
Did I do that right? Was I cool
did
with that
good,
one? That
yeah.
was good. All right. Thanks.
And the reason why I don't like talking about COVID, I mean, it's all around, it's something that we have to talk about, but because of being, me being an artist, it is a life-changing thing that happened to us artists. And it's definitely something that we have to change our whole lifestyle, change everything that we worked or asked for. As far as me personally, everything's all wiped away. You know what I mean? A lot of hard work, and it has nothing to do with being mad about it or this is just life, man. This happens. So, and it's something that it's out of our hands. So it sucks talking about it all the time because we all know that, as far as touring artists like myself, oof, that's like a difficult thing for you to have a tour canceled and then not knowing the future, because we're not talking about months. This has been going on for over 2 years. So this is difficult time for a lot of us artists who make a living out of touring and playing live. So yeah, it's just depressing, man. But it's definitely it affects how you said, Bobby, your family, and that's where it's really, you have to look out for it the most. Your family, take care of your family. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's the most important thing.
But for you too, man. And so many, like you said, so many artists, musicians, people that rely on touring, doing live shows. You guys took a hell of a hit. Oh man, just
a lot of people in the industry, and San Diego is really the bands that work here are the touring bands. Those are the bands that have been doing it for a long time. But the LA, all the cats that we know in LA to this day, it's life changing. A lot of people in the industry, booking agents, managers, the game has changed. It's a whole new game out there. You know what I mean? As far as how you want to hustle your music now, it's just you have to be creative. You have to be really creative, and with business too. You know what I mean? If you but at music, it's a whole different game right now. And then you have to, and if you want to stay, you want to stay alive and you want to stay in the game, and you have to be creative. I've been using this time to write music and try to do videos, just stay in the game. You know what I mean? Stay relevant. That's really important, because 2 years is a long time.
But lucky for you, you got the side hustle too. He's also owned San Diego Vintage, right?
Oh yeah, that's
Vintage.
always been my hustle too. Since I was young, I was always doing the Rose Bowl thing and the Long Beach thing, which catering a lot to the Japanese, and that where they were coming down here looking for vintage, and a lot of them loved coming to San Diego, because who doesn't love to come to San Diego? And so a lot of them, the Japanese, my contacts, where I would meet them in the thrift stores. This was back in the days we were talking about that, Johnny, how you go to a thrift store now, you ain't gonna find nothing, you know what I mean? Because it's all picked over by these kids who go to Kobe Swap Meet and sell things from the year early 2000s for $100. It's not even, to me, it's vintage, but it's not the real vintage stuff that we're talking about.
Yeah.
But you're not going to find nothing, because the employees that work at any thrift store, they're already getting their first, anything that's vintage, they're putting aside. It's a whole different game. So for me, I'm more of a picker, but I wake up early and I do the swap meet thing and the estate sales and that stuff. You have to be on it, because you're competing with people that are making a living out of it. And that's my side hustle. Like I don't get mad when
You enjoy it too.
I enjoy it. It's like a hobby.
yeah.
I could tell because
It's a hobby,
Really
and
know your shit.
yeah, it's fun.
Not just clothing. Like
Not
you,
clothing, no. Like
you do a lot of
little
real cool,
knickknacks,
fun shit.
anything that's like collectible, I love. But I definitely has to be something that I would want, like, or that I had back when I was young.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not really into like jewelry or stuff like that. I'm more into like a lot of 70s and 80s because that was my era. Like I grew up, I was born in 72, so I was really young, but I still remember like when I was, you know, 8 years old, 7, and of course the 80s is my shit. That's my shit.
Yeah.
And I love that stuff. But
You're responsible for the 3 velvet paintings I have.
Oh,
well, 3
yeah, that's
of
right.
the many
And
velvet
Elvis,
paintings.
right? That was
No, Elvis ain't mine. That's Ernie's.
Ernie's.
Ernie's from Salud. Shout out
so
Ernie.
if anyone know, yeah, shout out to my homie Ernie from Salud.
Our boy.
Our boy who people don't know, but he's like an Elvis like fanatico, like so he thinks he looks like Elvis.
Oh shit.
That's his thing.
All right. Well, we had him on the podcast. We
He thinks
discussed
he
we
that.
talked
no, he
about
thinks
that.
he,
Talked about-
he thinks he looks like him, and I tell him you don't look like Elvis, dude.
You should just tell him, yeah, you do.
No, yeah, well,
You know what I mean?
sometimes
That way he goes with it. And
when I
he
make
feels
him want to feel good, I tell you, because he loves that.
Yeah,
but
Elvis
anything Elvis, but it can't be cheesy. It can't be like the new stuff that they make in Nashville or Memphis. It's got to be like some 1970s, like velvet painting, stuff like that. He collects that stuff.
What do you think regarding your vintage business was your biggest come up, or you're just baddest
Well,
find?
this isn't like my story. So when I got into when the Japanese started coming directly to me, they were just like, they're really trendy people. You know, you've been to Japan. I've never been to Japan, but I've dealt with them. And they're trendy as far as, when I say trendy, is they change their list of their style and their list of hot things. Like it's not a monthly thing. It's more like a weekly thing. One week it could be bohemian, hippie, you know, leather, like you know, Jimi Hendrix, the way he used to dress. And then we don't want that no more. Not this week. We want Rasta. We want Rasta looking like, and we want the red, you know, the African colors. And then next week we're going Cholo, and we want the Cholo look. But it never goes away. Like, it's always going to be hot. But as far as like the trend, like what's hot, the way people dress on the street, it changes all the time. It's also like, for me, I would just hang on to this stuff because it would eventually they're going to go back to it. Like, you know, we all know that the Japanese they're always going to be cholos. Like, they're always interested in that whole style, which means when I'm talking about the style, I'm talking about like you know, anything that's pachuco, like 60s, anything 70s, like pachuco. And I'm talking about when they used to dress nice, all that stuff. That's expensive stuff. It's hard to find, especially in good condition, because the raza wore that thing down. Like, you know, they wore it, and they never got rid of it. They passed it down to their kids. So that stuff's hard to find. But anything that's like clean cholo gear, whatever, from the, you know, 80s, of course, they want that stuff. They're always going to want the original stuff too. But now everybody makes it now.
Is there like a cutoff year? Like, you mainly deal with 80s and older?
I mean, there's no cutoff. You know, there's not, because vintage is vintage. It's just the older it is, the harder the condition of it. It's gonna age, and it's, you know, it's gonna be more difficult to find. But as far as like, they're not really picky with the Mexican cholo gear, because everybody you can make cholo gear look nice with just buying new stuff today. You know what I mean? But the thing is that changes so much. And the fun thing about it is they mix up styles now. Now they mix it up. So now they'll be like raver mixed with cholo, mixed with like
a Rasta homeboy.
Rasta.
You know, like the Japanese, like with their cars, like they always got to outdo the next one. Because
Yeah.
how are you going to show up looking the same?
And there's no rules. Remember, we
Yeah.
talked about that. Like, they're not really rules. But you didn't answer the question.
What was the question?
What was your biggest come up with?
So then I'm going back to the Japanese. So it was always the Levi thing was the money making thing for me. And Levi, there's documentaries about it, about those old, you know, the double X biggies, the ones. So I found a pair. I didn't even find it. I went to, like how back in the days, people would go to Buffalo Exchange to sell their clothes. So there was another one called Flashback. And I knew the owner really well. And I brought a bunch of I found dead stock jackets from the 80s. We're talking about freestyle. Remember Stevie B and all the freestyle stuff that we grew up with, Bobby? Diamond Girl to my sentir. That style.
All right.
So that style of 80s jackets that were kind of like Duran Duran, more like
those Guess jackets.
Yes,
too.
Guess jackets, but leather ones, dead stock from Wilson.
Oh shit.
From
Wilson leather.
and it was like 30 jackets, and I'm like, dude, I'm gonna come up. So I went up. Of course, when you go to those stores, they only give you a percentage, and but I had came up with a bag of this stuff, so I was like, it was all profit. And so she was so excited because she really loved the 80s stuff, especially in Hillcrest, where her location was. That stuff would have sold because they were doing a lot of 80s parties back then. So she's like, man, well, after the countdown, she owed me $700. And she's like, well, what about if I give you half in check? And I found the Levi's. Somebody brought in these Levi's, but I don't know if they're real. And they had a tag on them. They were dead stock from the 60s.
Oh shit.
Dead stock, which means never been worn, like from someone's, And she showed them to me, and I already knew that they were real. But I was like, me hice pendejo, oh yeah, man, that's kind of weird that there's still tags on them. This could be like some fake stuff that just came out of Thailand or something. But yeah, let's do the deal.
I'll take a chance.
Yeah. Right away, I fucking had a boner.
How many were there?
Just one pair. But I knew these jeans was anything from 10 G's up. I knew it. So I was like, I just had a boner, and I was just like, dude, I got the jeans and left, and I was like, she called me, and she's like, you forgot your check. I'm fucking, oh, mom, man, I'm tripping. So she kind of knew I was all stoked on these pants, but so I went back, got the check, and then right away I called this French guy, because there was these French guys that were doing Levi business here, and they were shady. And I had him look at them. I knew they were real, and he was just like, I'll give you $6,000 right now, cash. And I was like, nah, I'm cool. So then I already knew what I had. And so I ended up selling them for 13 G's.
Damn.
And I bought a Cadillac, my year, 1972 Cadillac. And that was one of the biggest flips.
Who bought those jeans?
Japanese. And
they probably flipped them again?
Oh, they were $20,000.
Wow.
Yeah. Easy.
Man,
back then.
where they're at.
I think they're way more now. Yeah. This is dead stock. So you're not going to find dead stock. You know what I mean?
So something like that, do they wear, or they just?
So whenever you guys ever go to a Japanese vintage shop, or even LA, there's going to be a counter in the back where it's going to be glass, and they're going to have their most prized possession there, and they're going to have some jeans like this, but they're not going to be this clean. You know what I mean? And a lot of people even like them more worn, worn down, but this is dead stock. So
that's crazy.
That's my biggest flip ever. And to this day, I've never came close to that. I sold a pair of jeans for $3,500, which was after that.
So just for people that don't know, San Diego Vintage is across the street from Salud on Logan Avenue. It's open when?
Never.
Not right now.
Hardly ever.
So yeah, I open on weekends right now.
You open whenever
Saturday
you feel
and
like
Sundays,
opening, right?
And I make appointments but as far as now, yeah, I mean, for those of us who know about Logan Avenue, it's a cool place. But during the week, it's really just chill, more like people going to eat restaurants. But as far as having someone be there and paying someone to be at your shop, it's not gonna happen. I mean, Bobby knows from experience.
Yeah,
it's just not. It's for me. The weekend is cracking. The weekend, people from all around We right now we have a lot of people from Texas, Arizona, and a lot of people from Los Angeles and the towns around LA come to visit Logan and make it like a Sunday or Saturday thing. And they have fun and they shop. They spend money.
Yeah.
And that's more of my like, okay, I'll open up on the weekend. But as far as the week.
So if somebody wants to get in, because you got records,
yeah,
you have like toys, you have a lot of clothes, furniture,
they can get a hold of me.
artwork.
They can get a hold of me and I'll open shop. If I know you're going to drop some money, I'll open the shop for you. But
how do they get a hold of you?
they can get a hold of me through B-Side Players or through San Diego Vintage Company or Instagram. It's easy. You can find me. You'll find me.
Yeah, you can find
bar.
them. Yeah, you can find them pretty
I'll
much.
be at the bar.
Hey, so just shout out to the homies from Three Punk Ales.
Oh yeah.
And Fool's Gone Wild with the pistol.
Yeah.
You know, they came by and blessed us with the pistol. So shout out to those dudes. And it's actually really good beer, man. And they're all real cool dudes. The dudes from Three Punks are badass.
I like
and so
Three Punks.
Shout out to them.
I definitely support Three Punks and
Fool's
they
Gone
support
Wild,
me.
you know?
And Fool's Gone Wild.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been there since the beginning and we watched them grow to like have crazy amount of fans and followers. It's amazing to us.
They've done a
but
great
this
job.
beer, when you drink it, it makes you go, ha ha!
Salud. Salud. Right on, brother. Salud. Sweater. So enjoy it.
So Bobby is like my tío and he yells at me all the time.
I do.
So whenever I salute and I don't look into his eyes,
That's right.
he gets really mad.
It's a long story.
He gets really
But that's
mad.
how we do it. And that,
Yeah.
and I learned the hard way. I was
Yeah.
it's a long story, but
Yeah,
we
it
won't
is
get
a
into
long
that
story.
right now. But it's a good story.
It is
It's
a good story.
But that's how we do it, and it makes total sense to me. You know, after I learned how to do that, like when you
And it is-
salute
it
and you
is
cheer
a-
somebody, you
it's
look
just
them in the eye.
For me, I grew up in National City and I grew up in the hood and you really don't look at guys in the eye. You know what I mean? Unless you fucking down and throw some putazos. And like,
Nah, this
I wasn't down for
this
that.
you know, you could see. I think it just
Yeah.
brings people a lot closer, and you can see.
For reals.
Besides that, you can see how faded somebody is. It's a real connection, and it's respect. I mean, what pisses me off is when you go cheer somebody and they go like this.
Oh, yeah.
And they're giving you cheers, and
But I do it because I'm faded, though. I'm like sloppy. You know?
so
But that's no reason to be disrespectful.
Carlos, you're a iconic dude in San Diego. If anybody's been around the scene, they know who you are. You've been in the music scene for a long time. You've been, you know, just all over the place, man. So what's your background? Like I know you have some roots in Tijuana.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And I know your father's a musician or was a musician. I know that you grew up surrounded by musicians and you've played with all kinds of different musicians. And of course we have a lot of mutual homies in the music business. Tell us a little bit about that, like your roots, where you came from, and then how you got into music.
My musical roots, like as far as me,
How about your roots? And
my
then we'll go into-
roots, I would say I grew up in Tijuana. That's where I grew up, in La Liber, and you know it was the hood. But I only remember really good memories because my dad was doing really good at the time. His career was really good, and my family. When you're really poor and you live in a nice little house, like it's just everything is just great, you know. And you're young and. My parents were great parents, but my dad was never home because he was just a touring musician. So, but my mom was always like, she always wanted like that, the best for us. So her whole plan was like, she wanted to cross over to the U.S. That was her mission. And she, you know, she made it happen. Like she let my dad know that my dad would have been happy if we would have lived in Mexico, like, and we would have just followed his destiny, which was him being a touring musician and taking care of his family while we all were raised in Tecate in Tijuana. And the reason I said Tecate is because my grandma on my mom's side was in Tecate. And so that was a big part of my growing up. My youth was being with my grandma. Like a lot of us Mexicans, our grandma is just like, you know, whenever your parents are hustling, where do you go? You go to Nana's house.
Yeah.
And so that was a big thing for me. And being raised by her was awesome because she was just a loving grandma that like the tortillas de harina and frijoles every day. And mijito, ¿tienes hambre? No, Nana. Sí, tienes hambre. Like it was just,
no matter what.
Great
Typical,
memories.
Yeah. We went to Tecate last week.
Yeah, we just went to
Carlos and I
Tecate.
went to Tecate last week, and it's dude, such a cool little town. There was nobody in line. We walked across. There's a badass plaza right there. You feel like you're in the middle of Mexico.
So
somewhere.
Tecate has always been known as a pueblito, and it still has the vibe of a pueblito. It's just it grew, and there's a lot more people, but a lot of people don't know. So for all you people who are traveling Mexico, what you want to look for is these towns called Pueblo Mágicos, which is the Mexican government did this program thing, and they started finding these cool towns all throughout Mexico, and they started giving them a stamp of Pueblo Mágico. So like in Oaxaca, towns like, great towns like that are more like catering to the Mexican real culture, the food, the culture, the music, and are also like tourist friendly. These are Pueblo Mágico. So Tecate is a Pueblo Mágico, and a lot of people.
So the government funds programs in those cities.
They just put money. What they did was with the money that they gave them after they stamped them at Pueblo Mágico, they went to these towns and they upgraded like their parks, their city parks, and made it more, pleasing.
Dude, it's real clean, like really
clean up
clean.
welcome to Tecate, Pueblo Mágico.
That little plaza.
That little plaza was the one you went to was the funding from the Pueblo Mágico.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah. And it was middle of the day, and it was just the vibe and people playing music, super clean. It was really, really cool. So you mentioned your dad was a musician. I know.
So he was working at the time with the band called Los Moonlights.
They're a famous band. Dude.
A famous band from the era of like 1960s to 70s and 80s. And they were like at their prime in the late 60s, early 70s. And we're talking about this epoca of music that is now like really appreciated. But back then they were known as bailes, like their shows. They were called bailes. They weren't called like toquines
dances,
or like conciertos. Dances, because the Moonlights were known of playing like the oldies and the lovers songs, and so everybody would dance.
So they had original music and they did covers?
They did original music. They a couple covers. They did Neil Diamond's Red Red Wine in Spanish. That was a big hit. And so yeah, they were just murdering it, killing it, making a living, and traveling, like representing. So that epoca where they were big includes like Los Solitarios, Los Diablos, Los Bukis, these bands that are now like when you go to a record shop and you look at any of those bands, you're talking about like $100.
It's a trip, right? Because
we grew up with that.
When I was young in the 90s, we would go to a record store in TJ, and those those bands had records there, and they were like 99 cents.
99 cents. But now those records, everybody's like, oh, nostalgic. Like my grandma would love this. Oh, if I brought this back home, like my tio's gonna dance or anything. So yeah, all that stuff is big, man. And that goes back to my shop now too, and the vintage game.
What did your dad do?
So my dad was a trombone player, and my dad, he came from a town called Recodo, which is known for La Banda Recodo in Sinaloa. And the only way out of this town is just like a little dirt rancho, and it's the only way out of this thing is to pick up a horn. And so you have Banda Recodo, Recoditos, Banda Mesa, all these bands. They all left the rancho by picking up a horn, and my dad picked up a trombone really young at 14. So when he was 15, he left and was already playing in Mexicali, and that's closer to Tijuana. And he started playing with a big band, a famous band, and that's how he got the Moonlight gig. Really young, like my dad was young. He was just killing it already, and any horn player from Recodo is like, they're a good horn player because all you do is practice all day.
Where's Recodo?
Recodo is in Sinaloa. It's in it's off the skirts of Mazatlan near the airport. So that's where a lot of my upbringing was too, because of my dad's side. So my family, my abuelos are from Recodo, and I would always go visit and keep a relationship with them because I really loved it. It was, to me, it was different than my grandparents from Tecate. It was just, Sinaloa is just a whole different vibe. And I really loved it because Mazatlan is a surf town like San Diego. And so I really felt connected to it.
A lot of shrimp.
A lot of mariscos, aguachile.
Yeah.
All that stuff.
But
yeah.
aren't they famous for their camarones down there?
Any
For their
seafood.
cocaine.
Anything.
Yeah,
Marisco,
no.
cartel.
Oh, sorry.
No, camarones. So I remember seeing like,
Pelon.
yeah.
Yes. So then after my mom she started really getting the paperwork together for the family to cross. And so when we crossed, it was like, well, we got to find somewhere to live. And we started living in these apartments in National City, which are now known as the, low income park apartments by the skating rink by Sweetwater High School. I don't know if you guys.
Yeah, I know
so these are low income apartments. It was the hood, and that was my next. I went from Tijuana to that.
What year did your dad land in TJ?
So, oh man, this was like the late '80s or something, because I started going to elementary school in Olivewood, right there by Sweetwater, and that's where all of a sudden now I'm in ESL classes trying to learn English, and now I'm being raised like, all right, let's do this. And so now I'm living on this side, and little by little, man, I picked up English like fast. Like within 1 year, I was already like out of the ESL classes, and I was like I was just back in the I was doing good. And so then now I start getting into the hip hop music because
How old
of
were
the
you?
80s. This was like when I was like 8, 9 years old, like elementary school.
So that the first type of music that really grabbed.
So my
you
first
was,
concert was the Fresh Fest, 1985, I think.
yeah.
It was the Beastie Boys, Run DMC.
I was there.
LL Cool J at the Sports Arena. And
No, that wasn't 85.
I think it was 85. Wasn't
Nah,
it?
it was
88?
later.
88?
Was LL Cool J?
LL Cool J.
No, that's not the one I'm talking. I'm thinking about the one that they had at Starlight Bowl.
I'm thinking
was-
85 because the first Jordans came out. But yeah, it could have been later.
Yeah, it might have been later. Yeah,
The first Jordans came out in '85.
Yeah.
That's fucking.
we used to
nuts.
skate in those.
Yeah, we used to skate in those too.
Yeah.
Crazy. And
$150 shoes.
Well, now back then it's like there wasn't like skate brand shoes
Nah, you're
besides
right.
Vans.
but how much
So
are
we used to
85
skate in
Jordans
ones.
now?
The OGs? Oh, man.
I have no idea.
Like
I-
thousands, right?
I don't even pay attention. Like,
Yeah.
I don't. That ain't my shit, dog.
So, yeah. So then my dad at that time, he was really touring now. Now he was never home. So my mom, she started being a hairstylist and doing really good, her clientele. And so our whole thing was, let's get out of the hood. Let's get out of here. Because I was going to National and National City, junior high, and that was bad. That was back then. It was bad. It was just,
Meth.
there was no art
It was like
programs.
back then. It was like
My school had no music. It was
mid '80s.
I love National City, but there was just no programs. Like it was like the YMCA in Kimball Park. That was it.
That was like a lot of. We used to call it crystal. Was on the street back then, and weed was. They were just bigger bags.
It was, yeah,
It's
it was,
different.
I don't know,
Yeah.
but I do. People get mad because I say I'm from Chula Vista, but when I got to Chula Vista, that's finally when I started really like being creative and like actually like becoming an artist and like saying, okay, like I don't want to be like my dad because my dad's never home and he's always gone, but I really like this music thing, I really like being creative and writing songs and, writing poetry. And that's how it all happened. Just being creative. And then
What were those first songs and first music like that you started writing? And
so like
playing
my
and stuff?
dad was always like, you need to play a horn. That's like you,
A fuerza.
I'm not going to teach you guitar or drums. you need to pick up a horn. And so I had to play trombone because those are the instruments in my house. And I fucking hated it because it was just like, you're just learning for scales, and it's like, man, I want to write music. I want to play, and I want to play my music. You know what I mean? Like,
which was
at that time, it was just like the early hip hop stuff. And it was, a lot of like the bands that I was listening to was like the early 80s stuff, like, and late 80s stuff, you know.
Was that when you started listening to reggae too?
I was listening to reggae because of the hood, because National City, all the Bloods and the gangsters were already listening to like Eka Mouse and like Barrington Levy, and something about like gangsters love that reggae music from the early 80s and 90s, like
the Marley stuff too.
That
like,
stuff.
I think Legend.
But when you would go see Barrington, it was just all gangsters throwing up signs, you know, like in the crowd, and you're like, what the fuck? I thought reggae was all about peace and love, but it was like Samoans and Bloods, like hell, like, you know, dancing. Yeah. It was a different vibe. Mm-hmm. But that's my introduction to reggae. But I love the music. Of course, Yellow Man was a big influence in my life, because I was collecting vinyl when I was really young, and that was huge. Like Yellow Man and all these you know, Green Sleeves and this early, you know, Jamaican music.
Who were your like favorite hip hop bands back then? You think?
For me, I really fell in love with the East Coast hip hop. Like I'm more of a more Nas is the one that really blew my mind, just lyrically.
Well, because during that time, if you're talking about the mid '80s, there wasn't a lot happening out here yet.
There wasn't, but there was. You know,
it didn't happen out here till like the later '80s.
You're right.
You know, like everything that was happening was coming out of the East Coast. I think, you know, the ones that really started hitting it big was, you know, when the Beastie Boys and Run DMC and, you know,
I mean, we had
that's what hit big out here first. I mean, the first to really move beyond what, you know, some of the classic
like the West
hip hop
Coast stuff.
Yeah. But I mean, the East Coast stuff that hit really big out here first, I think, was that after like, you know, the Blondie stuff and
I think for me, like being a border kid,
Sugar Hill, all
because
that stuff.
Since I was crossing the border so much and like living on both sides, and I was seeing like the border dividing, like you know, the whole Tijuana lifestyle and the Baja lifestyle, which was like a whole different world. And then coming over here, and then it's just like, all right, like, yeah, you know, you're good now. Estás en el otro lado. Like, you're safe now. But to me, I never felt safe. I always felt safe in Mexico. And I've always loved growing up in Mexico. But to me, that's like what it did to me lyrically was it created like, as being a border kid, it made me like conscious of my surroundings. Like a lot of people that grew up, you know, on the U.S. side are not really conscious of like poverty. Like when I'm talking about real poverty, I'm talking about like kids that are on the street, like, you know, with nothing to eat, like the third world shit. And when you're in Tijuana, like it's all around you, you know what I mean? But it's just different, like you know, and kids are hustling, you know, on the street at a really young age. That stuff like really fucked with, like it made me like become a conscious person, like as far as like man, like this shit fucking exists in the world. Like we're gonna let this kid go hungry, you know? And like, of course, when you come over here, you don't see that shit. But
you would move through it, like it was all around you. Like that was a part of your program.
I really got that when I started hearing like conscious music, like the East Coast stuff, like you know, the whole, what was it called back then, where it was like Tribe Called Quest and like, you know, De La Soul. They were doing like a more conscious music thing, and what they were rapping about was more like a kind of like elevating your mind and being conscious kind of stuff. And it wasn't just rapping about like the reggae stuff that I was like bom bidi bom bom, like the dance hall, like fucking shake that ass, and all the hip hop that we were listening to was just like drop that ass and move that ass and cars. Like when I started hearing the conscious lyrics, I'm like, oh man, this is it. this is what I want to
I
listen
mean, like
to.
that Arrested
That,
Development,
man, full circle.
Public
I
Enemy,
ended up
stuff
touring
like
with
that.
Arrested Development, and these bands were like this is it. So for me, as soon as I started B-side players, I'm all, this is what it's about. Like, we're gonna be like a conscious, like, as far as our message, it's gonna be all about consciousness. As far as music, we're gonna make people move and shake that ass. But as far as like lyrically, consciously.
Shake your ass.
So B-side was always like party, drinking, getting faded. But if you really want to like listen to the lyrics, and you can go to the library, the catalog. There's always a message in every song, you know, always, whatever it is. But there's always a message, but a lot of people really don't know about that, because you really have to be into that kind of music. You have to, like, everybody thinks like, oh man, like, you know, besides this and that, but they don't know with the stuff that we did. And as far as
do you write all the lyrics? Do you write everything?
I
for
write
B-side?
all the lyrics, yeah.
So as far as the music, I know you've worked with a lot of different musicians. Who were some of your musicians that you'd say are like highlighted, I guess, for lack of a better word, or people that you really enjoyed working with, or that contributed, you know, that you really vibed with, or that made B-side, helped to make B-side what it is?
Because of our career, as far as being really young, like in our early 20s, when we met in community college, all of us, and we were all like students of African drumming,
Southwestern.
So we were all like African drumming, and that's when we really took the 6-piece band into like a big 9-piece, 10-piece band, because we incorporated like the congas, timbales, drums, and that's when we started listening to a lot of like Afrobeat and a lot of old, like, you know, American funk, like the James Brown shit. When you go see James Brown, it's a 22-piece band, you know. It's like 2 drummers, like fucking how many horns? Like, so for us, it was always about a big band. So as far as like career, when we really got our shit together and said, let's fucking chill out on the party and let's focus on getting this shit on the road. And we got a sick ass booking agent that really believed in us, and we hit the road, and it just fell into like place, like, because that was back in the street scene days. The festivals were like, you know, and as soon as they heard the band, they were like, oh, you got to meet this person, and we can do this. So our first tour, I think, was like the Wailers, which was like Bob Marley's original band.
Yeah.
And that lasted forever. I was like half a year touring with those guys. So I would like watch these guys play like Bob Marley songs, but study them. Like one day the bass player, the next day I would watch the drummer, so I would learn like how Bob Marley's rhythm section worked. Yeah. And then I'm all, okay. So then I would write reggae songs after that. But then they're like, oh, all right, in the next tour, Vámonos, you're going on tour with the Headhunters, which was the original Headhunters, like one of the funkiest bands ever. What's the piano? Oh man, I can't even think of with the leader. What's the jazzista? Herbie Hancock. Oh yeah, Herbie Hancock's
Rocket.
band.
He did.
Yes,
Yeah.
But Herbie Hancock, when he started, had a Headhunters, and these were all the funk dudes like Paul
Herbie
Jackson.
Hancock did reggae?
No,
What was
funk.
he did funk.
So we went from a reggae to a funk jazz tour,
shit.
but now we're doing like a whole tour across the U.S., opening up for just jazz people and funk people. They don't want to hear no reggae. So then we started going to some funk.
Oh shit.
So B-side started doing a lot of funk, and that was like, and we started studying Paul Jackson on bass, Fred Wesley, which was Maceo Parker,
the JBs.
JBs. These are the people that we were on tour with, learning from these people, the legends, and you know. So
Damn,
Mike
so
Clark,
you
Mike
went,
Clark, the drummer for Headhunters, is the most sampled drummer on all the hip hop stuff.
So he went from some of the baddest dudes in reggae to some of the baddest and jazz to some of the baddest dudes in jazz and funk.
So then they're like, all right, that tour's done. He's you're going on tour with Ben Harper now. Ben Harper's a new kid we didn't know who he was. So this black kid from the US, his whole crowd was like hippies, hip hop,
Surf.
reggae, surf, like a Jack Johnson crowd
Yeah.
of songwriting. And so now we're on this tour and we're like, all right, like, what do we play? Let's play more our songwriter stuff. So now I had to create songs that were more songwriting, appealing to that kind of people, the hippies. So we did more jam band stuff. And they're like, now you're going on tour with the Rest of Development. And I'm all, dude, the Rest of Development's sick. I knew the songs, but their crowd was more like, dude, this is like people young and old and people who appreciate that era. And
There was positivity.
positivity, yes.
Yeah, they're listening to the lyrics.
Yes, lyrics. And it would never stop. And at this point, all we're doing is
that's
opening
badass.
up for these amazing artists, but we're making $500 every time we play. And we only get an hour or 45 minutes to open up. So you have to kill it. This was like, we did this for like 6 years and we played it. We opened up for anyone you can think of that's like James Brown. We opened up for James Brown at the Santa Barbara Bowl.
That's probably the bad.
That was one of the best shows of my life.
Did you meet him?
So I got to meet James Brown,
Whoa.
but it was just like the manager took me to him and he's about to go on stage. And I'm on, Mr. Brown, thank you for having us play. And I did make eye contact like you told
Good
me.
for you. How'd that feel?
It felt great. And
That's right.
and you know, he was about to go on stage and he looked at me and he shook my hand and he said, and I was just like, yes. And he's like, and he went on stage.
Did he have? He didn't do no rhythm, like a little falsetto.
And everybody said he said something good to me, but that's what it sounded like.
I'll tell you what, like, one of my favorite things that the B-side players that I've seen them do is was at the Belly Up, and they did a whole set of nothing but
Curtis Mayfield.
Curtis
right?
Mayfield covers, and then they follow it up. Their encore are the best of B-side, but dude, they nailed it, bro.
So that was
Like,
one of the artists I never got to play with. And I would say that's as far as influence in my life, because when you listen to Curtis Mayfield, it's like funk, but it's like a groove. It's like a soul that's like, for us, that the way we grew up, listening to a lot of cool music and, R&B and funk and soul. Like Curtis is one of the pioneers of that music, but it's just like something that's like, oh man, it's like an East Coast thing, Chicago thing, but it spread like throughout but a lot of people will not cover that. They won't play it.
So you were telling me the other day when I asked you about it, I go, hey, look, when you guys gonna do it? You go, well, I got to get my voice in shape.
Yeah. So like in order for me, because we went and we took this project and toured the whole U.S. with it, because when I told the booking agent, I have a Curtis Mayfield tribute band idea that I want to do. And they're like, what? And then the next thing you know, within 4 days, he had like Cleveland, Ohio, New York, Pittsburgh, any town that was like Detroit, any town that had Motown or funk, soul, they were like, we want this project. So it became like a national tour. And so for me, a lot of this, Curtis's falsetto shit. And so I would have to go into like this, this voice where I had to train my voice. Oh yeah. You know what I mean? So because a lot of the songs is just, oh yeah. And you have to I don't have that voice. So I had to get into that character. You know what I mean? But a lot of these towns that we play with, like Cleveland and shit, there would be like Curtis Mayfield tribute tonight. And I fucking look in the curtain, dude, and it was all fucking black people, 45 and up, dude. Not even 40.
Oh, shit.
They were like, Curtis.
No pressure.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm fucking coming out as, I don't look like a fucking, to them, I'm not a Mexican.
Chicano.
No, I don't look Mexican Chicano. I look more like fucking
dude?
Árabe with the fucking dreads.
True.
The fuck is this shit?
Yeah.
And it was just like, you can cut the fucking tension, homie. Like when we come on stage, they're like,
they don't know what to expect.
Did we fucking pay money for this shit?
Yeah.
And even like the first song was just like, And then the second song in the middle of it, you would see people fucking start.
Yeah, moving.
Cause you can't, you can't resist it. It's the music, and it doesn't matter what you look like. When you hear that music, it's like, and then boom, third song, it's on. Yeah. It's like people fucking celebrating Curtis shit.
How many nights in a row could you do that?
I did it. We did it for fucking a good. We did a month and a half cross nation of just Curtis.
When's the last time you've done it?
I haven't done it since, but it was one of the
I think we should do
most
that.
memorable tours because it was something like to challenge yourself and to be out of your league, be out of your comfort zone. Like artists have to do that, man. You have to. And we tell our kids to do that. And we also but for me, I could be doing B-side. I could do this for the rest of my life. And I'm like, I want to do this Curtis thing. I want to do it because I want to do it because I'm a Curtis fan. And I think it's going to be fun. And I think it's going to be a growing, like something positive for us musicians to learn his music and also like celebrate it. And it was, dude. And when I talk about this shit with the band and they're like, dude, that was fun. And it had nothing to do with like, it just was like being out of your comfort zone. And because
but you feel you come across as completely comfortable.
Yeah, because I felt comfortable with the music and we rehearsed, like we actually rehearsed and it was solid. And people like Bobby who are, like he's like a person that, is a musical person has seen a lot of shows in his time. He's seen War play so many times and bands at that caliber, that level. You told me, he's like, dude, that was a badass show. And you weren't lying.
Badass show.
And that to me is like, boom, like, okay, that's all I want. That's all I want from that project.
I want to see it again. Yeah. We should do it this summer.
Let's do it.
Make something happen. You just got to get your voice ready.
No, it's not even about that because I don't even like a lot of songs like Move On Up. When you listen, it's high as shit. But I use my real voice. I don't even use falsetto. Like I just sing it the way to.
Yeah, because you already sing high anyways.
Mm-hmm. Hush now, child, don't you cry. But like in my own voice instead of hush now, child. Like I use my own voice.
Yeah, it works fine.
But you have to like project it. You know what I mean? And use the mic. But it's a different level of singing. It's kind of like. It's really high is what it is. So
this is the thing about Karlos. If you listen to what he's saying, it's like just the people that he's had the opportunity to work with, to tour with. I know that he's had some amazing musicians around him. He's done the coolest shit, but with the B-side stuff he's done, he also brings some stuff. He has a good time. Like, oh, yeah. I know he has a real good time. Yeah. Sometimes probably he has too much of a good time, but there's a couple tracks that come to mind. One, that San Diego track is badass. I've always we got to do something with that.
We do.
Can we should try to find a way to put that in.
Yeah,
like maybe right now.
Okay.
So I kind of remember seeing him perform that live at the side yard.
Oh, okay. Yeah, even though we didn't get a shout out on it, I'm okay with that.
So that kind of music to me, that's like something that you write, but you're not like, oh yeah,
I wanted
song's gonna blow up.
I seen
that's
the
like
paper.
A San Diego song.
You wrote it. I think it was a record sleeve. And I seen it, and I told you I wanted it. I don't know what happened to it, but I seen it, and you had posted it or something. I told you I wanted that record sleeve.
I have it for you.
Yeah, so really cool. He wrote it by hand, and then so that song's badass. I love that. But there's a track that we
so he likes all the songs that no one has ever heard.
Yeah. So there's one called "Dirty Little Sucia."
Dirty Little Sucia. Okay.
Which is an amazing song.
It is a good song.
It's a fun song. Mm-hmm. He did get a little bit of when they did the video, it was hard casting. I wonder why. Just maybe because of the title.
So my idea was to have a bunch of girls on the video, and they were willing, and it was gonna happen. But when I told them what the song was called, they were like, "Really? You want me to be in your video of a song called Dirty Little Sucia? Fuck you."
And he ended up shooting it here in the building. Some of it.
So Bobby was like the only one that let me record. And he...
Because I got your back, Holmes. Yeah. You already know.
And it's kind of... When you look at the art, a lot of the Chicano art, and then Bobby can explain this, but a lot of the art comes from the pinta. People... And what do people like to draw on the pinta?
Dirty little sucias.
They like to draw sucias because
Nipples.
yes. So that's what the more
Angelitas sucias.
that's more of the art direction of the video, and celebrating that culture, which is part of the Chicano culture as much as the murals and everything. Chicano power, the pinta
it was
culture
fun,
is,
man. It was like
yeah.
a little parody thing. It was
It is.
cool, and it's everybody jokes about it. So it was kind of just a it's a fun song. It's you listen to the lyrics. It's
but it's a
obviously-
love song. It's a love song.
It's a comedic. There's
It's a love
definitely
song.
comedy.
It's about a
in there.
guy who gets cheated on, and by a dirty little sucia, and it's a heartbreak song, like any country
But then
song.
he talks a lot of shit about her.
No,
and
he does.
Yeah, he does.
Oh, yeah, he does.
Choo-choo-choo.
Yeah, you're right.
You know what I mean? Doesn't he go like that? How does it go?
I talk as much shit as any country artist would talk about a girl, a broken-hearted song. Like, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. It's not. There's no foul language in it, but yeah, it's a choo-choo.
It's a metaphor.
It's a metaphor.
So if you haven't heard that, you got to check that out.
So, yeah,
and you just dropped some new shit.
So yeah, and we're gonna start filming some videos pretty soon.
But you did last week, didn't you and Eric go to?
Well, no, not yet, but we it's coming out.
It was just you were doing the research.
Yeah, the research.
So last week you did the research
Yeah.
for the video.
We do a lot of research, and it
Okay.
has to do with crossing borders and breaking barriers. So I'm going back to my roots, Tijuana. I'm going back there as far as like I want to capture. It was kind of like a difficult thing right now with the COVID thing, and of course, like with the whole "don't go to Tijuana" propaganda because you're gonna get kidnapped and you're gonna get murdered and you're gonna wake up with no kidney. All that propaganda shit is fucking up Tijuana really bad. And we were going to these bars that I've been there since my dad's days, like the 60s, Nelson, these old bars, and they're empty, Bobby. Empty. Mariachi is playing inside because the mariachi, they're not getting gigs. So what do? They're just in the bar playing their music for free drinks. And it's because you have to play your trumpet. You can't just sit around all day. You have
Which instruments do you play, Carlos? What do you?
I
know you play a lot.
I started
of
with the
instruments.
trombone. I played it for my dad, and then I went to the trumpet. I really love the trumpet, and now I use it more. I played with B-side for 20 years, the trumpet, and I put a lot of heart and soul into it, and it's one of the hardest instruments. For you guys, anyone out there who wants to get into the trumpet, like you have to be really into it, and you have to practice every day. It's an instrument that you can't be like mad at and be like, I'm not playing you today, because one day of not playing it, you're gonna lose your chops. So that's a really hard instrument, but I use it now as a tool for songwriting, like writing melodies, and the trumpet's
Wow,
bad. Like, who
that's
doesn't
what a
like the
trip.
trumpet?
Yeah.
But for me, I'm not a musician as far as like playing live. I use instruments for songwriting. My thing is songwriting. I have over like 500 songs. in my
Yeah, but
catalog.
you're also a guitarist.
I do
you
now,
play
but
guitar.
during COVID, I was just surviving and doing acoustic stuff and doing live streaming.
play
I did.
bass too.
No, I don't play bass. I played in some songs just for fun. but
Keyboards.
no keys.
So mostly, I thought.
Brass, right?
Yeah, but
Bra-
no,
I
he
play
plays
guitar.
guitar nice too, dude. I don't know why he doesn't give that to him. I know he plays a nice guitar. I mean, it was pretty cool. My son Bobo's been able to play with them.
Yeah,
before,
Babo is like, so there's a different, to me, as far as musicians, like I've been around many musicians, and so there's musicians like me who work really hard and like study your instrument. And when you realize like, okay, like I'm not really that good, but I can use this instrument to be creative and write music. There's those kind of guys. And then there's the guys that pick up an instrument and then they don't even look at it. They look at the heavens and they close their eyes and they fucking kill it. So like Bobby's son is one of those musicians, like a gifted musician who is like, he's a ripper. And those guys are hard to find because there's just not many of them. It's like a gift. They are out there, but a lot of them don't even know they have that gift. And he has a gift where like when he plays the guitar, he doesn't even look at his instrument.
Especially when he like gets in his zone, he'll open his mouth. And
so we had one of those guys in our, and his name was Giovanni Mejia, and he was one of those like gifted guitarists that he would just play from like it's kind of like you're talking to the aliens or something, and you're transmitting some shit, and it's hard to explain, but he's one of them, and they're really rare. But these guys are like, fuck, like what the fuck, like what planet are you from? You know, it's weird, but they're out there, they're out there, but it's a rare breed. Carlos Santana is one of them, like
what it was a trip when Bobo met Carlos.
Carlos Santana?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So he told him, like, without even knowing, he told him that he played guitar.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he looked at Bobo and go, hey, you play the guitar, huh? That was weird.
Yeah.
That was like some alien
It's kind of like
transmission.
when an East Coaster knows that someone else is an East Coaster. Like, they look at each other.
Yeah.
Like, don't fuck Eddie.
Yeah. Some
Quit
shit like
busting my balls.
so you tour a lot, man. I know you've all over the states, right?
yeah.
How many you've been, and then you tour Mexico.
Uh-huh.
Tell me a little bit about touring and
For me, touring was always like that's my favorite time, because San Diego is such a beautiful place to come home to, so we're so lucky as far as traveling. And then fuck, dude, I gotta go home. And I'm like, I gotta go home, San Diego. Hell yeah.
That's right.
So like POD, like a lot of people don't
Shout
know.
out to the homies from POD.
So B-side players and POD, we started our careers in a little studio in National City, and we shared studios, and our whole thing was like, let's get our shit together and start touring the fucking country. And that's what we did. So like bands like that, we still touring to this day. I think POD's on the road right now. And that's our whole thing, is like we always tour national. At one time, we're doing 180 shows a year. So
Damn.
that's crazy.
That's crazy.
That's some shit out of the van.
nuts.
Out of the van with the trailer. And those are the funnest times ever. And like, that's just my memories. My memories is touring the country, like, coast to coast, as far down as Key West, Florida, to Maine, like just doing national tours in the snow and the heat, like, and we never we've gotten some some accidents, but never nothing where like, oh man, knock on wood, thank God, over 28 years, like we've been safe. No one has ever died, no overdoses, no negative. Like, we've never hurt anyone. Like, that's something to be proud of. You know what I mean? You hear band stories, you're like, fuck, dude. Like,
and it's a trip because it's like most bands, they'll pull into a city and they have no idea how big they are in a certain city. Do you have a city like that? Like, all of a sudden you pull up and
so
you're like,
I don't know what it is.
What's up? Is this?
So we do really well in fucking Idaho, dude. Fucking, I don't know, potato. I don't know what the fuck it is. Maybe I smell like potatoes or something. But we fucking kill it. Like these little towns. Boise, of course. Ketchum, dude, this little town. It's fucking population 600 and 600 people come out. So, the fuck?
In Idaho.
Fucking Idaho.
And then you have a strong following also like Santa Cruz, places like
Santa
that,
Cruz,
beach.
but I found out, I'm all, fuck, dude, Santa Cruz loves us. Fuck yeah, the surfers, Santa Cruz, sick. Nah, dude. Guess who fucking goes to see us in Santa Cruz? Fucking Watsonville, Gilroy.
The Chicanos from there.
All the Chicanos. All the fucking... Anyone with a Pendleton and a fucking any torta
some
from
Dickie
out
I'm
Shorts?
sure
there.
you. Hey, we won't even go there.
No, okay.
But But I'm sure you find a lot of inspiration on the road too, and as you travel, like just the different people and the different music and stuff. But I'm gonna tell you something about this dude, Johnny. Like, he's got a style, not just the way that he dresses and looks, but
You got a style.
You go to his pad,
Johnny got
like
style.
and congratulations on your pad, dude. Like,
Oh, thank
he's
you.
got a beautiful home. Like, him and his wife got
That's the
a
shit.
beautiful home, and really cool. But everything goes. He's got something that it's not common. Like, just the way that his style is with not just his music, but the way he dresses, and then it goes to his
I
pad.
wear black t-shirts sometimes.
Stop it. And he told me we won't even go there either. Okay. How many places can we not go?
All right.
So, just the style's dope, dude. Like,
So, like
his furniture,
interior
his
design
art,
type
the
stuff?
design, like just everything this dude has. It's like he's one of those cats that you'll meet. Like, he's a rare dude. Like, he's just very, very,
Got
stylish.
different lenses on. He sees
Well,
the
I
world
think
differently.
it is that, and
Being blind.
yeah, blind, touring, the cross culture that he's experienced, not just Mexico, San Diego, but touring. And then you take all these experiences that he's had out there with, the Whalers, and then, just the funk
And that's
and
just
soul.
like,
And
you know,
Fred
not to
Wesley. I didn't even know you went out with Fred Wesley.
So Fred Wesley is one of the legendary trombone players. I didn't even tell him my dad was a trombone player, but I got
He had the horny horns too.
the Horny Horns, which was James Brown back in the.
JB.
These guys wrote there's songs that you're bumping and you don't even know that that's the horn section on there, because Fred Wesley and Maceo Parker.
Bobby, what was the other
Was
guy?
a trombone player? Was it Pete?
Maceo, right?
No, Maceo is the sax player.
Bootsy Collins.
No, Bootsy was the bass player
Bootsy, but he came
that
later,
took over
right?
James Brown band later. But so Fred Wesley, he fucking, I became such good friends with him, and I fucking told him, I'm like, dude, I want you to be on a track. And
No
he
way.
fucking came to San Diego.
Oh, shit.
What?
And I booked right next to Pokey's.
Oh yeah,
The studio Capricorn Studios.
I was gonna say Unicorn.
So I booked like fucking Fred Wesley's coming. And I fucking went on a sick one the night before.
Oh no!
People don't know this shit.
Yeah.
First time, right? And I fucking ended up at Harney Sushi. I fucking was drinking sake. Hold on.
Oh no! And Fred Wesley was here trying
It was
to
the
work
night
with
before. So sake, and then Ozomali came in. At that time, I was homies with Astru, and they were like, "We're playing the downtown House of Blues."
Thank you,
So I went from sake to tequila to.
And you knew Fred Wesley was here.
So
to work
I never
with you.
smoke weed, dude. Like, it's rare that I don't. To me, I stopped smoking weed in the fucking 90s. When I went to blunts, I'm done. I'm fucking tapping out. I'm not. It was just fucking up my throat, fucking up my. People swear it doesn't mess you up as far as like you're singing. That shit fucks with you if you're singing every day like me. So I fucking decided I rather sing than smoke blunts, you know? So I stopped singing, and that night I fucking smoked a blunt. I think with like Charlie Tuna or one of the Ozo guys. Well, one thing led to another, dude. I woke up in in San Diego downtown jail.
Oh shit!
And fucking Fred Wesley was waiting for me the whole day
Damn.
in the studio,
on.
and I never made it, dude. And I was
Wait,
I don't
did
give
you
a
apologize?
Of course.
And
of
how?
course.
What did?
But
How did he
they didn't
respond?
know where I was at. Nobody knew. They were like, dude, MIA. And fuck, dude, that was one of the most fucked up shit I ever did in my life.
Flaking on Fred Wesley.
I flaked on
would
Is
Fred
that your
Wesley.
biggest fuck up?
But he fucking recorded the song without me.
Nice.
I have it.
What's it called?
It's called Selfish.
Oh, there it fits perfectly.
Yeah, exactly.
Perfectly.
And cell.
Selfish.
It's spelled
Jail cell?
with the jail cell too. So salute to that.
Damn, that's pretty good. Which one is it? Shout out to the homie.
Yeah,
Danny.
Fred Wesley's OG.
Danny from Ronnie's got me that bottle of Don Julio for Christmas. That's nice. I never had that one before.
Yeah, it's good. But you're all about the 72 right now, right?
70. I like that, and I can't say it.
Oh,
The one that I got in when we were in Tecate.
Oh, that one's good.
How do you say that? Herdura. How do you say it?
Vergadura.
No.
Oh, sorry.
See? No, what's it called? That one, it's the Ultra.
Hamverga?
No way.
Congratulations. Te felicito.
No.
No?
What's it called? It starts with a H. I don't know how to say it, bro.
Verga?
But it's... See where his head goes all the time? Yeah. So let's real quick. So you've been this whole transition or this whole big, whatever you want to call it, gentrification or community change challenge that's been happening in Barrio Logan over the last, what are we gonna say, 6 years, 7 years? You've been there pretty much the whole time too, right?
Yeah.
Like you've I know you're really close to our mutual great friends, Ernie, Milo.
We've seen the rise and fall and rise and fall and rise and fall and rise.
So what's your perspective on where we're at now and a little
as
bit
far as like being there, like having a business in the community, and because it's not the same anymore like when it was when we, back when everybody had their master plan of like, oh yeah, I'm going to start a business in Body Logan and this and that. And everybody at that time was more, unified as far as like hanging out, and the brotherhood was a little bit more tighter, and I'm not saying we're not tight anymore, but everybody, business kind of, it distracts you a lot from like your friends and from the community, because it's business. You got to make money and this and that. And a lot of people venture out and do other things. But as far as like seeing my friends, make money and do really well off that community, that's great. But it's also like, from me being there for so long, like you learn about how people can't live in that community anymore because fucking rent is incredible. Like I can't afford that rent. Nobody can, like, to live there. So now who lives in Barrio Logan? You know what I mean? And who's going to come live there next? So that's going to change a lot of what that community is all about. And not only that, but as far as like, just like what's happening in any cool place in the world, it's just becoming more rare and rare. And it's just like it's a money making thing. And that's what it's all about. It comes down to money. And you start realizing that the people that you thought are their main interest is the community, it's not really that. It's more money. You know what I mean? And slowly but surely it starts happening. And well, that's what's happening right now, and it's been happening for a long time. But
a lot of vultures, right? There's different kind of vultures. There's culture vultures, and then there's people that are vultures in regards to just money and rents and how much they can get for these little spaces now. That, there's.
So my shop is really low key. It's always been low key. Like I said, I'm not even open. But so a lot of people, like I'm like not threatening to anyone because I'm not making a lot of money, and they know that I'm not making money. So they rather have me there because I'm not. And not only that, but I bring music to that community. I bring like,
he brings Karlos Paez.
I bring music, and I work with everyone, like, like the VFW there.
You work real good with the Border X.
Good.
You work good with.
I don't have any
good
beef.
at Salud.
I don't have any beefs with anyone. I'm mutual. I'm more like an artist, so I stay mutual. And when people are hating on each other, like I just stay away from it, and I just stay away.
I think
from
you've
politics.
become one of those personalities on the block. You've become one of those people that if you go down Logan Avenue, you might see Milo, you might see Carlos, you might run into Ernie or the Taco Prince. But if you're real lucky, you make it into Osteria Chichilla.
Oh, that's a jam right there. And people don't know about this place. So Barrio Logan has a Italian restaurant that's legit. These people are.
It's a 10.
It's a 10. And it's the prices are really reasonable. And it's a place where like we always tell people, bring your lady, bring your family, and you're not gonna. It's not falla. Like you're gonna love it.
Yep.
And I've told so many people, and they still won't go
because it's an Italian couple.
Yeah.
It's a husband and wife that run it, and they're legit Italian. Like I think the husband or one of them barely their English isn't.
I don't send people anywhere else unless people come to the shop from out of town and they're like, where should I eat? How much time do you have? Because you're gonna wait in line. You know what I mean? Like, because I know where they want to go, but it's all about like, do you want to wait in line? If you want to wait in line, all right, do the 4,000 then, because that's like somewhere you have to eat there if you've never been there, and you have to take advantage of this place because I don't know how much longer they're gonna be there, but that's a legendary place. But I'm not a 4,000 kind of guy, but I'll direct them there. I've been there many times. It's just 4,000 is 4,000 and bomb. Like, I'm nothing bad about to say that's Barrio Logan.
You have to try it.
You have to try it. And Salud, of course. Salud is bomb. Like, I always send people that way. Yep. Give my boy business, and
Por vida.
But he doesn't need business. It's cracking.
Yeah, I know. I don't know when the
dude.
last time
He just had
went to
the Food Network on there last
like
week.
He doesn't need me to. But when I tell people, like, what do you want to eat? If and most of the time it's gonna be tacos, Mexican. But
but what about
when they're like, I'm open to anything, I say, try this Italian spot.
That's bomb.
And
then, but Hayes is bomb too.
Hayes is bomb. The burgers,
those are real bomb.
Bomb burgers, yes.
So Logan's like, if you want to get fat,
we just
kick it right.
The real Chicano.
You go down. You know what's bomb too is that panaderia by 4,000.
Oh yeah.
Oh man. It's bad. So I try to stay away.
Just need a Chinese food spot right
whenever
there.
I can. But parking has become quite the challenge, man. Like just trying to park and
it is, but everywhere we go, Bobby, we go, parking's a fucking issue.
We got lucky today in the van.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, so what's next, Carlos? What are you working on?
For me, it's getting these singles out. I'm all about singles. I'm not about I have enough music to make an album right now, but I'm more interested in like the visuals, like the video and the single, the hyping up singles. And so got a couple songs. One of them is called One, and then it's a song that I wrote, and it features a really talented singer out of San Diego, one of those gems, like who has this amazing voice. His name is Tim Pacheco, who plays POD,
Southtown Generals. And I have another song that I'm working with some guys from Mazatlan, and that's gonna be like a single that we're gonna go film on the 17th of this month, February. We're gonna go do the video and who's doing that video for you there?
So Eric Casas,
shout out Eric Casas,
is a videographer, very talented cat that does a lot of video work here in San Diego.
He's a very talented dude, real talented.
And he does a lot of work with these guys. Down wild,
he does. So. He does stuff for everybody. He's a part of the network. Shout out Eric.
He's part of the homies, the family.
Eric Casas, that's right. And then I'm gonna take Bobby on some trips across the border go get some frames for his art. Okay,
we're gonna do some frames.
Hey, you know what? And we've always talked about you working with Sick Jack, and from the Cycle Realm, because both you guys have.
I think we have a lot of
roots.
Because he has some Sinaloa roots.
Yep.
And but
take him, invite him down there for when you go. He might be down to roll. Because Jack, I know he's always down to go down there because he has family down there. Yeah. And but maybe that'll give you guys a time to vibe and work. And probably won't, but sounds good. But I mean, as far as like actually working, but I know he's down to, go down there.
Oh yeah, he's badass. I mean, that's Psycho Realm, anything like that. So that goes back to like all the old hip hop shit. And I've been really listening to a lot of old records. Legion of Doom I've been listening to.
Oh, shit.
Ooh,
yeah.
What's up?
Yeah.
Like some old school stuff from San Diego. And
they went to Japan with us. Like some of them went to Japan with us back in their early days.
Yeah.
Yep. King D. Daryl Blunt.
Daryl Blunt.
Yeah.
Is he the one in House Suffering?
I don't know. He passed away.
Yeah.
Rest in peace.
I think he started House Suffering a minute ago.
I don't know if he did. I don't know if he did, but King D still comes around. He went out there with us a couple times. Are we ready for another one?
I'm good.
Yeah. So, who do you want to work with?
Oh man, who do I want to work with?
I think
I want to work with Bobo.
Yeah, well, he's right there downstairs. Just go pull him off the mug machine. Bobo's down there doing labels and mugs.
Exploit him a little
child
bit.
labor. Well, he's not a child no more, huh?
But dude, you got the studio right here.
I know.
Artistic. Whenever you guys are ready, start jamming.
All right.
Owen's badass too. Owen's a badass.
I like working with the youth, the kids, because they're the shit. And then they're not about like ego or about like how much am I going to get paid for this recording session.
Yeah,
it's more about like. So I like to exploit that.
To my advantage.
Just the way I got exploited. I'm just going to return it.
And I think he would enjoy it too, like because I know you've taught him some things too. Like he pays attention.
But no, I really like working with the youth. But as far as like working someone that I would like to go like play a show with, I really want to start doing stuff with Poncho Sanchez again. I think the COVID thing really. Those elders, like those musicians, and that it's a scary thing for them to go back and play again. It's just like they're older, a lot older than us, and so they have to be really careful with that shit. And that was someone I was getting really tight with. That I would ask him, "Can you be on a song?" And he would come to San Diego and record. And I was just kind of like building this thing where I wanted him to like actually like write some music with him, like that kind of legend. Those kind of people, when they leave, that I'm going to be like, dude, I have all his records. And it's like, fuck, dude, I wish I would have done more stuff with him, you know?
Yeah. Kind of like Fred Wesley.
Yeah, Fred Wesley's not going to die.
Oh, man, I didn't know that, dude.
I got a cool story about Fred Wesley.
All right.
So we're like in Breckenridge, Colorado, and it's like a Rasta pasta thing where they have a lot of Italian pasta dishes and stuff. And
what?
But
it's
called Rasta pasta.
What is that?
So they mix like the whole Rasta thing, but with the pasta, and they try to make it cool. Because it
rhymes.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like a bunch of snowboarders, kids.
All right.
They have this business, and it's cracking. It's packed. So Fred Wesley is like, ordering food because they hooked us up, for the gig, and he's like. So we're sitting down, and the young little waitress comes, and he's like, I'm going to have this entree right here. This entree. And she's like, okay. And you, what about you? And so, hold on. And I'm also going to have this entree right here. And he's like, oh, you want both? She's like, yes. She's like, okay, how about, hold on. And so Fred Wesley is like a big cat. You know what I mean? He's like a big cat. And just like that was it's not a funny thing. It's just like you have to understand, like when you're at a place called Rasta Pasta and order like a little like a pasta, you're still gonna be hungry. Like he's a big guy, so he's been around to these places because he knew exactly what he was doing.
Yeah,
he knew exactly what he was doing, and so I was teasing him about that. Okay, Fred, you're hungry, huh? And this and that is all. I need to eat. I don't want to play tonight. I'm play good, And that's just the way he is. And just take care of him. He takes care of himself. But so his thing is these old school Reeboks that we all grew up with. Do you remember the aerobics Reeboks?
The high top ones?
Yes.
I definitely remember those.
So Fred Wesley.
I never wore them, but chicks would wear them.
So Fred Wesley rocks the Reeboks, the silver shiny ones.
Whoa.
And those were like, to me, there was a time when those things were like the latest thing. Like when I was really young, everybody wanted those things. Everybody, guys, girls. I don't know if you ever rocked them.
No.
You're lying.
I didn't, dog. I never rocked that shit.
So Fred Wesley rocks the Reeboks, like on stage. That's his get up. On stage.
Yeah.
That's his get up.
Yeah. They were like padded.
And they're shiny.
Yeah.
And I think he has custom.
Probably.
But I just think that's like hilarious that this grown ass man, big old dude, rocks the shiny Reeboks. That's just.
Hey. Is that
it? Yeah.
That's it?
Well, that's what I say too. Like when I wear like my workout shoes, like I don't wear them out in public other than working out because to me I feel like an old man. Like what the fuck?
I got a sad story that goes with that. It's kind of like Crocs.
Reebok.
Crocs in this building, dog. I'm not. You know, it's nothing that I'm proud of, but there's too many. I mean, I'm
not a Croc fan.
Me neither. But there's too many people in this building that
calling out fools.
I think like tapping out when you don't care anymore about what you look like and you don't care. I think Crocs is like es un nivel de tapping out. Like, I don't care anymore. I'm gonna wear Crocs and sweats. Like you don't care anymore.
Yeah.
You don't care, and when you don't care anymore, it's an attitude. You know, it's an attitude in your work. It's your vibe. You don't give a fuck. And Omar Lopez from the Whalers, he crocs it all the time. I'm like,
he's
dude, you're so young. And you're already crocking out?
Crocking out.
He's already crocking
out.
Dude,
yeah. So my wife used to buy, when Baba was a little kid, like 5 years old, 4 or 5 years old, she used to buy him Crocs, and I used to get so pissed. Don't put, like, now he rocks them on his own. and then Isaac wears them, Miggs wears them, Edmar wears them.
It should be you should have a dress code. You should.
Yeah, I know.
This is your place.
Yeah, but I can't.
So so Jane's Addiction is one of my favorite bands in the world, and we all know Perry Farrell. He's like a person that like it's all about stage presence. So there's a festival. I don't know. It's on YouTube. Just look up Jane's Addiction Birkenstock. So he's playing, and someone fucking throws a Birkenstock at him. And it fucking almost hits him, and he stops the fucking show, and he says, not only like do you have the worst fucking sense of style, but fuck you, like you almost hit me, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
But that's like, Birkenstocks was the Crocs back then when we were young.
Nah, you know what? I'm gonna have to I actually have some Birkenstocks.
But Crocs look like plastic.
But they call them Jesus shoes, and I don't wear them.
I'm not a Birkenstock.
I wear them around the pad, like I'll wear them around the backyard or the pool or whatever.
Because you Birkenstocked out.
That's right.
Birkenstocked out.
Yeah, I guess. But they're different. I don't know. Birkenstocks.
What's your favorite artist?
Oh shit!
Your favorite artist of all time?
Artist? What type of artist?
Anything.
Like
don't even tell me.
Like a musician.
Don't even tell me. Just picture him in a fucking pair of Birkenstocks or Crocs, and you'll fucking
with socks on.
With socks on.
Nah, fuck.
It'll just ruin his image.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know because.
Santana's the only one that can probably get away with some Crocs.
There you go.
But he
could get away for some Birkenstocks too.
Yeah, you're right.
And so could
that's the only one.
But no, so could the dudes from like Los Lobos. They could do that.
I don't know. Nah,
that's Lobos. Jesus level shit though.
Los Lobos,
right? Like Santana.
They're not. They're gonna be all Pendleton.
No.
And then wear Birkenstocks.
No. They rock like Vans.
They'll rock Vans.
Chucks.
Yeah. Vans are different.
But those dudes are like they're just southern.
Chucks is different.
I'm hoping to have them
Chucks
and
Birkenstocks
on the show.
Different.
Hopefully I'm working on that. Like Louie and Louie, you're supposed to. Hopefully I get them down.
So
here.
that's another band that I would love to work with. Even though, like I have met them and I've opened up for them. Yeah. I think Bobby, you went to the show.
Yeah.
So I got to open up for Los Lobos. That's epic. But I would love to work.
That was right here at the theater.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, when they come, I'll make sure you're here. But I'm trying to. Lil Louie's down. I just gotta text Big Louie. But that dude's like if there's somebody that I have conversations with, and you've met him, haven't you, Johnny?
Yeah, I was lucky enough. We went to the show at Belly Up.
Yeah,
Solana Beach.
Yeah. So that's like somebody that I would consider a mentor and
oh yeah.
Just a brilliant mind.
That's like a band that people ask me, what are some of the bands that you opened up for that was like mind blowing? That's one of them. And I always forget because it was like, oh man, it was just like, it was something that was like, it was meant to be. And like it's not like a big deal. It's Los Lobos, but it is a big deal.
It's a great big deal.
Great big deal because that band right there is.
But then again, Carlos,
influential.
But we'll put it like this: if a band like Los Lobos comes to San Diego and they're looking for a San Diego band to open for them,
Yeah, I would do it for free.
who else is there?
I know, but I would do it.
Like, you're that B-side is that band.
Yeah,
You know
but I
what I
would
mean?
do-
Like,
that's like,
and I'll tell you what, to all you listeners, viewers now, check that out. If you don't know or you haven't taken the time to listen to the B-side players, I recommend you check out the B-side players. Real, just badass.
Available
band.
everywhere, right?
Talent.
Spotify, Apple Music,
All that
Okay, let's do
bullshit.
this. So let's say somebody,
8-track.
I got a check from Spotify for $13, dude.
Hell yeah. Fuck yeah, dude. So
Charlie.
let's say somebody's new to B-side. What would you recommend they listen to first?
Man, you have to listen to Los Moonlights from Tijuana.
Oh, he's gonna take him into his dad's band.
Oh yeah.
No,
Yeah,
B-side.
inspiration.
B-side.
A B-side, a song of ours.
No, let's say an album or
Oh,
a
an
couple
album?
songs.
Oh, but
Like
yeah.
somebody like these listeners, viewers are
Okay,
like, I'm telling them
well-
to go listen to some B-side players. What should they listen to?
If I say the first record, it's all instrumental.
Well,
and it's-
then, don't
and
say
it's-
that.
So it's not a good record to reference.
I
because-
say listen to Dirty Little Sucia.
really?
No, I'm just playing. Yeah, maybe. No.
I'd say a good record would be like the Movement record. When that was like back in the street team days when we were touring. It was so POD released a record on 9/11,
Uh-huh.
and
Satellite
we did too. And our record was called Movement on that day.
Movimiento.
Yeah, and that was crazy. So that
Is
was
that
like,
the album you think best represents the?
I think it
B-side players?
represents like kind of the sound, like, because you have a record label now that you can actually like go and bring guest musicians and work, and that's kind of like where we stepped up our recording, careers as far as making a good record. Yeah, but then we got signed on Concord, which Concord is one of like all the Latin jazz and stuff from like Poncho Sanchez record label, and this record label had all the money because when they signed us, they had just made a lot of money from the Ray Charles movie. They released Ray Charles, that record after when the movie, the actual Ray Charles. So they had so much money, and they signed Ozzy Motley and bands like us to like, and so that was like a big budget record. So Fire in the Youth is another record that I recommend because we brought in like a producer, and so we had the opportunity to like incorporate different rhythms that we are into, like, the whole Veracruz, the jarana sound,
Yeah.
and the New York salsa, Fania All Stars, like incorporate those sounds into a record, because our sound is really eclectic and it has so much influence. It has like the Afrobeat influence, it has the salsa, and it has the Mexican, the Veracruz, the charango from, like Peru, El Salvador. Like our shit's different. So
It's a little bit
to
tropical.
make those records, you have to invite people and pay people. And so we had like a budget, and
Right.
and that's a record where I'm very proud of. But it's also like a big budget record when they took my voice and they fucking like spent like 2 days tuning it, which it's never happened to me.
And which record is this?
Fire in the Youth.
All right.
But then I know in the industry that everybody, they do it to everyone. They're like, we were doing this for Ray Charles. We do this to everyone. They fucking have so much money, and they fucking anything you record, it has to go through a tuning process. Oh, and they watch it. They're all, that little fucking instrument was sharp. Let's fix that. That was fucking, that's not going to work. That's out of key. Let's delete that. And so these records that Hollywood makes, all of them do that.
Yeah.
So when it was the finished project, you're like, oh shit, sounds amazing. But it's like,
I knew I was that good.
So this is the last question. So, and you and I have had this discussion before, and it's something that I've discussed with friends of mine in the music industry and artists, I guess, in general. So, there is a conception or misconception that people that get to tour, they get to record records, and they get to play big shows, and they're musicians, they're touring musicians. They may have had a couple hits here and there, and they either learn how to deal with it financially, the fame and everything that comes along with it. You're one of those people that like I said, I consider you a good friend, and we're pretty close, and we have a lot of heavy conversations, but you've been able to manage your lifestyle. I think you still have a good time sometimes, like Johnny and I said. I know you have a good Wesley time, a good time, but to become totally successful in the music industry, it's not just selling records and doing shows. It's like your whole lifestyle off the stage, how you manage yourself, your money, your family, your friends, your doing that. And sometimes there's a lot of musicians that the shit goes away, or it changes, or it's not what it used to be. So what kind of advice would you lend to up and coming musicians, bands, or people just to be able to maintain?
That's a great question.
To balance that out, it's because
I think
people think it lasts forever,
right? I think, but it's just like, as far as my career has been a blessing and a curse, because we never got that hit on the radio. Which if you don't have a hit on the radio, then you have to work your ass off. But when you have a hit on the radio, that shit fucking opens doors to like playing big rooms and big crowds. But now you're in a field of like people making a lot of money, and like, where's the money going, and this and that, and that's what makes bands fucking get crazy, fighting over money. So we've never had that problem. So that's a blessing. And also, when you get like a certain level of fame, now it's like, you're fucking doing it. You're fucking playing music and you're making a living. That's what I do. But like, don't fuck it up. Don't fuck it up. Like, and how do you fuck that up? Drugs. Fucking, you start fighting with your fucking brothers who are in your band, or you fucking get tired and you just don't want to do it no more. And so that's never happened to me, because we've never fucking became one of those bands that fucking, oh man, I know where all the money goes, because the money is in my control, and no one's fighting over money because it's all open. This is how much we're making. This is the contract. You want to go on tour? Vámonos. And this is how much you're going to make. Boom. It's all open. But when you get to a level of like making so much money, everyone has questions like, where's this money going? And it starts building all this. Money is the root of all evil, of course. But the fame thing is another thing, because that's a personal thing that each person has to deal with. And a lot of people don't know how to deal with fame, man. They don't know how to deal with like people worshiping you, or people that want to party with you. And a lot of times they don't give a fuck about you. They just want to party with you, and they want to fuck you up. And that's something that, for me, I mean, at my level of the level that B-side is played for so many years, partying could be a big problem. That could be a big problem. So, of course, balance. You have to balance your shit out. I party. We party. We've always been a party band. But at the same time, like, hey, homie, you're partying a little too much. Like, dude, chill out, dude. Like, hey, take a break. Like, you're fucking affecting like the live performance. Like, you're playing like shit. Like, that's crucial right there. And you have to tell these people, and I've had managers who that was their job. And now that's what I do. Now I'm the fucking dude. Like, you have a business, Bobby. Sometimes you have to be, hey, homie, you're fucking slacking. Any business or anything, you have to be. And it's not about like being a dick or anything, but it's about like doing your job and make sure that's it. Just keep the shit going. Keep it going. Keep it going. Whatever it takes to keep it going. And at this point, man, we can make a little money, because now we've been around the game for so long. And now people are paying respect to the band, and they're actually like offering us like decent amount of money, because like there's different ways to make it in this business. You can be a one hit and boom, blow up, or you can be those band like Los Lobos, where you fucking work for years to finally fucking get the respect and fucking finally like, hey, you guys deserve it, dude. Here's fucking 50 G's, for a show. Here's fucking 75 G's. Like, they fucking worked, but that was not easy if you do. And there's bands like B-Side Players is one of those bands, and we've only been playing half as long as Los Lobos. So it goes to show you, and it has nothing to do with like La Bamba or having a hit. That's a band that works their ass off. And there's a lot of those bands. Bands like, Ozomali, like us, we're touring bands. We just, no songs on the radio, no hits. It's all about being a live performance band. And it has nothing to do with selling records or radio. It's just about like, wherever you go, fucking play a good show, make people happy, make people dance, sell alcohol. It's a business. It's a business. That's it.
That's a hell of a way to end this. That's some knowledge right there.
That's right. Well, he's been there. He's been around the scene for a while. But I want to thank you, hubby. Thank you. We had a good afternoon. We've had a nice afternoon, and I mean just in general. But thanks for sharing your story, Shanks. Thanks for being here, and continue doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
Especially here in SD. Like I said, man, it's like it's an honor to have you in the scene and be around us and being a part of the community, and we all appreciate that and have a lot of love and respect for you. And thanks for
how come I was
doing the
looking
podcast.
at Johnny every time I talk?
I don't know, man. I was wondering that myself.
You're
I go, what's
scary,
wrong with you,
dude.
dog?
You're intimidating.
You know what I mean? Stop it.
You're intimidating. Johnny's like nice to look at.
Yeah, I try. I put lotion every day.
Johnny Sweat. Yeah.
So when's real quick? Any live shows coming up?
Yeah.
So as far as live shows, we have some stuff coming up in Idaho. And we got some West Coast stuff, Santa Cruz,
and we're doing some shit this summer.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you a little secret.
Yes. Yeah.
We're gonna say this real quick. Street Legacy. Stay tuned. Late June.
So that's going to be our next local San Diego
July,
show.
August.
Oh, okay.
We're doing some shit, and we're gonna try to put that Curtis Mayfield tribute in there somewhere.
Ooh, yeah.
Maybe 2 nights. But
on your mama, on your daddy.
In the
Okay.
That's right. But yeah, man, love you, homie. Thanks for doing it. We ready, Johnny?
I'm ready.
That's right. Lower Left Podcast. Shout out Beastal. 3 Punk Ales. Fools Gone Wild. Tribal Click. That's right.
Tribal Click.
That's right. 17th and Island, San Diego. Lower Left Podcast. Johnny Be Good. Bobby Tribal.
B-Side Players.
B-Side Player. Karlos Paez. And we're out.